The expectations for this season are absolutely sky high, but could a massive mid-season trade involving Cole Kmet completely alter the destiny of our franchise? We are staring down a brutal gauntlet of defensive masterminds, revenge games, and potential trap weeks that could make or break everything. Buckle up, because we need to talk about the brutal reality of our pass rush and whether this roster is truly ready to dominate the league. Before we dive into the madness, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with a fellow diehard, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Are we actually realizing how much pressure is on this team right now? Think about where our offense and defense need to rank out of all 32 teams this upcoming season if we want to be taken seriously. The bare minimum, the absolute baseline goal for this offense, has to be top 10. Period. Last year we were hovering right around that mark, so taking a step back is not an option. But if we are talking high-level, shoot-for-the-moon aspirations, we need to be pushing for a top 5 offense, maybe even higher. The talent is there. As for the defense, the floor should be top 20. If we can clamp down and establish ourselves in the top half of the league, say, top 16 in total defense, we are going to be celebrating. Honestly, I would gladly take a top 20 defensive unit as long as our guys are still forcing a massive amount of takeaways. Bottom line, top 10 offense and top 20 defense is the floor, but the ultimate dream is a top 5 offense paired with a top 15 defense. And if you want to talk about highly anticipated matchups, let us talk about the absolute fireworks waiting for us late in the season. I am looking right at that DJ Moore revenge game in Buffalo. That is going to be incredibly emotional and intensely physical. By the time that rolls around, both teams should be heavy contenders, at least, for our sake, I desperately hope we are. It is a Saturday night football game on December 19th at 7:20 Central Time. Do you remember the sheer magic of last year's Saturday night game? It was the absolute game of the year in the NFL against the Packers, ending with that legendary DJ Moore walk-off. We could very well capture that exact same magic under the primetime lights in Buffalo. And right after that emotional roller coaster, we get the Packers on Christmas Day. Question of the day, are you planning to go to any games this year? And if you are, which matchup are you most hyped to see live? Drop your answers down in the comments below right now because I want to hear what game you all have circled on your calendars. My personal non-division favorite has to be Week 8 on Monday Night Football in Seattle, but that Saturday night game in Buffalo is going to be cinematic. Let us pivot to the roster, because there is a lot of buzz surrounding Hayden Large. Can he develop into that incredibly versatile, Swiss Army knife type of fullback? Can he be our version of Kyle Juszczyk? Let us pump the brakes just a bit. He has a very long way to go as a pass catcher. All the chatter from rookie minicamp, paired with his lack of receiving production back in college, tells us he is not exactly a natural pass-catching weapon. But let me tell you what he can do. He can block his heart out. That is exactly why he is in the building. If he makes this 53-man roster, his first, second, and third job will be blocking. Now, this is a Ben Johnson coach team, so they are incredibly creative. I am sure they will scheme up a few plays to get the ball in his hands, but expecting him to match one of the greatest modern fullbacks in history is a massive stretch. Think of him as a blocking first tight end and fullback hybrid. If he excels there and makes an impact on special teams, he survives the cut. But while we are looking at the fringes of the roster, we cannot ignore the glaring red flag staring us in the face. What is the biggest weakness of this team right now? It is the pass rush, and it is incredibly frustrating. The front office seems to think the guys we have can collectively take a step forward. Are they completely wrong? Not necessarily, but I absolutely do not love this passive approach. We desperately need another difference maker on the edge, and maybe they will still add someone. Hopefully, the run defense tightens up so we can at least feel secure there, because that was not exactly elite last year either. We simply need way more disruption and production from the defensive line as a whole. When you look at the schedule, where is the pitfall? Where is the trap game that could derail our momentum? It is tough to identify a true trap early in the year, but my eyes are locked on Week 6 on the road against the Falcons. It is perfectly sandwiched in a brutal spot. You play the Packers on the road the week before, and then you are looking ahead to a short week against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. It is so easy for a coaching staff to try and sneak in some early preparation for a Thursday game during Week 6, completely looking past Atlanta. But it is an NFL road game, and you cannot sleep on anyone. I do not consider the Dolphins a trap later on because I honestly think Miami is going to be a disaster this season. We should not lose that one. But Atlanta. That game terrifies me. Speaking of rookies and the rest of the league, there are some serious statistical milestones we need to keep an eye on. I am looking at Mekhi Lemon's receiving projections. I sincerely hope our secondary locks him down and keeps him way under his season averages when we face him in Week 3. Then you have Jordan Tyson. Let us pray none of his receiving touchdowns come at our expense during our Week 11 clash. And as for Dylan Thielman, I am actively rooting for him to intercept the Packers quarterback at least twice this season. But when it comes to defending our own quarterback, which defensive masterminds are going to give Caleb the worst nightmares? Brian Flores is always a massive headache. In Caleb's rookie year, he had one brilliant game against the Flores defense and one absolute disaster. Last year, Caleb was just average in both meetings. So out of 4 matchups, Flores has probably gotten the better of him 3 times. Catching that defense in Week 2 is terrifying, though being at home makes it very winnable. Beyond Flores, Vic Fangio in Philly is always a brutal puzzle to solve. We ran the ball well against them previously, but Caleb struggled to hit 50% of his passes. And of course, going into Seattle to face Mike McDonald's incredibly talented defense is going to be a massive test. Taking a step back and looking at the entire NFL landscape, who is going to shock the world and who is going to fall flat? I firmly believe the Colts are going to be absolute trash this year. On the flip side, I am incredibly high on the Chargers. I genuinely think they will win the AFC West. Yes, the Chiefs are favored, and Patrick Mahomes will be ready for Week 1, but the Chargers just have a fundamentally better roster top to bottom. I am also totally out on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I despised how they finished last year. Keeping Todd Bowles felt like a desperate move, and while drafting Reuben Bain Jr. 15th overall was a solid pick, asking a rookie to completely fix their trajectory is a ridiculous expectation. If you want a team that is flying under the radar, keep your eyes on the Saints. They could easily be a 10-win team and fight for their division by December. Also, do not sleep on the Bengals. If Joe Burrow stays healthy, they are going to make a massive playoff run. Now, bringing it back home to our offense. With this being year 2 in Ben Johnson's system, are we going to see the playbook open up with more trick plays? Absolutely. Whenever a coaching staff has a second year to settle in, the scheme evolves. The foundational principles remain, but the trickery expands. We are definitely going to see some wild new wrinkles. It makes you wonder, will we ever find out what that mysterious 4th down play was during that late-season game against the Packers when the ball was disastrously snapped over the quarterback's head? Maybe this year, we execute those wrinkles flawlessly. Honestly, I am still holding out hope for a Darnell Wright fat guy touchdown on Christmas Day against Green Bay. I predicted it last year, and I still think they have a play drawn up for him or Colston Loveland near the goal line. Finally, we need to address the trade deadline rumors that are already spinning out of control. If our defensive line is as mediocre as I fear it might be, I fully expect us to trade for an edge rusher or an interior disruptor. Neither group is so deep that we couldn't use a veteran mercenary. The only other scenario where we make a move is a nightmare injury situation. We feel incredible about our starting receiver duo of Rome Odunze and Jermaine Burton. But if one of them goes down, the drop-off is terrifying. Asking guys like Khalif Raymond, Jalen Walker, or Zavon Thomas to step up and be a true number 2 target for an extended period of time is a massive gamble. But what about the craziest rumor out there? Some fans are actually suggesting that if Sam Roush impresses early and Hayden Large proves to be a capable tight end 3, we might see a mid-season blockbuster trade sending Cole Kmet away in a player swap for someone like Kayvon Thibodeaux. Let me shut that down right now. I would be absolutely shocked. The only way you trade Kmet mid-season is if the team completely collapses, goes 2-5, and shifts into a total rebuild. If we are in win-now mode, which we absolutely should be, Kmet is staying right here. They aren't replacing him. They just want to utilize more tight ends on the field at the same time. I fully expect Cole Kmet to remain in our uniform for the entirety of the 2026 season. Get ready, because this season is going to be an absolute roller coaster of emotions. Bear down.